You're watching TV9 News and I'm Prajwal D'Souza. Now, in order to facilitate and smoothen the vaccination drive in the country, the government introduced the CoWIN portal to book slots for vaccinations. However, recent guidelines issued by the government regarding the eligibility of vaccination for people who have recovered from COVID-19 are being failed to be implemented through the registration portal. Now, before I tell you what the issue is with CoWIN, let me briefly update you on the new guidelines. On May 13, the central government released a new set of guidelines and asked people who had recovered from COVID-19 to wait for at least 3 months before they got their vaccination shot. Although the guidelines were passed, reports are now claiming that a person who has recovered from COVID-19 can book a slot and get a vaccination right the next day if the slot is available. A report by India Today claimed that some of the patients who had recovered from COVID-19 recently did not have to wait for 3 months and could get inoculated when a slot was available on the CoWIN portal. Now, one of the recovered patients was quoted as saying by India Today that there wasn't any kind of mechanism in the CoWIN portal which stopped them from taking the shots if they had just recovered from COVID-19. A nodal officer at a COVID-19 vaccination center in Delhi's East Delhi district told India Today TV that CoWIN platform lacks the capability to check whether a beneficiary has recovered from COVID-19 recently or not. The nodal officer also said that the platform has no information regarding the date when such beneficiary would be eligible for the jab. Now, apart from the technical difficulties, one more issue that is bugging several people is regarding the 3-month waiting period after a patient is recovered. It is also not clear when the recovered patient should start the 3-month countdown. Recovery can vary from individual to individual. India Today also quoted a member of Residents Welfare Association in Delhi's Greater Kailash 1 who said, and I quote, "The dates are known are the day when a person witnesses the first symptoms or they are tested positive. The period of recovery varies from patient to patient. In my case, I did not develop any fever or throat irritation after the 9th day, but my wife's fever continued even after day 18. We are told that there are many cases of long COVID too, which is quite prevalent," unquote. These are indeed genuine concerns raised by these people. So to answer these questions, I spoke to immunologist Dr. Sitesh Roy. Here is what he had to say. Doctor, is it possible to calculate the exact 3-month period after recovery?
So Prajwal, it is a little tricky with the COVID-19 infection to calculate the exact 3-month period, because the question comes up, do you calculate it from the time when the fever disappeared, which often does in the early part of the infection, or do you take it from the time point where all the symptoms disappeared, which may never occur because some people have long COVID in up to 30% of the cases. But I believe that somewhere around 2 weeks from the onset of symptoms is where most people have recovered from most of their symptoms, and calculating 3 months from there may be one practical way of doing it. The other practical way may be from the point that they had the positive RT-PCR to calculate 3 months from there, though that won't be from the end of the illness, that will be mostly closer to the beginning of the illness. I do believe that this does not create a major issue and people should not stress over this, because 2 weeks here or there is not going to change how your immune system is responding.
Doctor, does the period of recovery vary from patient to patient?
It most certainly does. There are patients who get well within 5 days from the onset of illness. There are some who have only 2 days of symptoms and don't have anything after that. And there are some who will have a month-long symptoms with 2-3 weeks of fever. So there really is an immense amount of variation, but the average duration is somewhere between 7 to 14 days for most of the acute onset symptoms of this disease. And in those having long COVID, can it go any further? Mild cases often will be better within a week.
Will the 3-month period apply for a person who might have bouts of long COVID?
Long COVID raises a very interesting phenomenon in which there have been cases reported from around the world where someone in the midst of long COVID, when they took an mRNA vaccination such as the Pfizer or the COVID vaccination, their long COVID symptoms actually decreased. So to say that long COVID is a contraindication to taking the vaccine would be inappropriate, mostly from the time point at which the major symptoms of the individual have resolved is from where the 3-month mark can be measured. But as an immunologist, I can tell you that people, even after infection, can have reasonably good antibodies and anamnestic or memory immune response for up to 6 months, 8 months, and even a year after an infection. So we are really working on empiric values when we are saying 3 months, and this is not a hard and fast rule.
What is the rationale behind asking recovered patients to wait for 3 months to get vaccinated?
If there was unlimited vaccination available for anyone at any time, anywhere, I don't think there would be as many restrictions on who should take the vaccination when. Given that we have limited supplies of vaccine, it would seem very practical that you would want to vaccinate the people who are virus naive, who have never seen the virus as an infection before, first, because that is a quicker way to get to herd immunity. Having said that, there is enough data available now that for at least 3 months, people have reasonably good antibody levels and as well as protective immune responses in place that they can wait before they take their vaccination. I believe that duration could even be longer. But the focus really should be on vaccinating people who have had no exposure to the virus so that we can get maximum amount of people closer to herd immunity.
Doctor, should the CoWIN app have a feature to track a person's recovery status?
Under ideal circumstances, yes, it would be wonderful if the CoWIN app could have an entry made through a central repository or database where every person's positive RT-PCR gets uploaded into the system and linked through their Aadhaar card or PAN card to their name, so that when that person applies for a vaccination, it can be known how far they are out from their time point of being positive with their RT-PCR. However, as you can expect, this is not a very practical approach because some people have a positive rapid antigen test. We would also have to make sure that the rapid antigen tests are uploaded into that same system. If all this could be done, it would be a great way to know when they got infected and what time their disease began, and then come up with an algorithm where they can get their vaccination 3 months or beyond from their infection time.
Currently, the government has only issued guidelines but has not made it clear how a person can calculate the 3-month waiting window. It is also important that the government tries to implement a mechanism in the registration portal which can keep a track of recovered COVID-19 patients. Do let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you like this content, give this video a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to TV9 News on all the social media platforms. Thank you for watching and have a great day.